It's 2030 hours on November 11, 2025. In the Caribbean Sea, something unusual breaks the quiet night. Every radar screen from Puerto Rico to Caracas lights up at the same time. A large formation is moving in the dark, with deck lights off and radar emissions turned low. It is the USS Gerald R forward strike group, the strongest force the US Navy can send. From a distance, the ocean looks calm. But inside the Ford's Combat Information Center, the mood is tight. Operators sit still, watching their screens, waiting for the first sign of trouble. Then, a short radio pulse cuts through the speakers. The message comes from the Venezuelan coast. Any foreign vessel coming near our limits will be intercepted. No name, no position, only a warning dropped into the dark. The watch officer looks across the room and speaks quietly. This night is only beginning. And at that moment, no one on the ship knows how close they are to a mistake that could change everything. To many people watching the news that night, the movement of the USS Gerald R forward looked normal. The US Navy often runs patrols in the Caribbean, and the official line called this one a counter-narcotics mission. But everyone in the region knew the truth. This was the largest US naval presence in Latin America since 1989, and it carried a message far louder than any press release. The waters north of Venezuela are not empty. Dozens of cargo ships, tankers, and fishing boats pass through every hour. Patrol aircraft sweep the area. Radar sites on several islands watch the sea 24 hours a day. In a place this busy, one wrong move does not just stay in one country. It spreads fast and can pull in every nation nearby. The position of the USS Gerald R Ford made the tension worse. This part of the Caribbean is a tight space where military and civilian radar overlap. Every signal is tracked. Every turn is recorded. When a supercarrier enters this zone, it changes the balance immediately. Venezuela felt challenged. The US Navy knew the risks, and the world watched the radar lines tighten around the same point on the map. For the sailors on the Ford, this mission was more than a line in a brief. They understood how close simple mistakes can come to real conflict. A radar echo that looks wrong. A boat that turns at the wrong time. A radio message that arrives 1 second late. These things can set off a chain reaction no one can stop. So when Venezuela activated radar stations along La Guaira, Puerto Cabello, and Paraguana, the Ford's crew did not panic. They logged the signals, stayed on task, and kept their tone steady. Calm is not optional out here. It is part of survival. But by midnight, a new feeling settled over the crew. The air felt heavier, the reports came faster, and a simple patrol was slowly turning into something sharper. Everyone on the bridge could sense it. The Caribbean looked peaceful, but it was only quiet on the surface. Underneath, something was moving toward the Ford, and it was moving fast. Just after 01, 42 hours on November 12th, a young radar operator in Puerto Cabello leans close to his screen. A new echo appears. It is large, slow, and steady. To him, it looks like a Lonas destroyer. He does not know his system is running outdated firmware and the data is already 30 minutes old. He alerts his command. Minutes later, 6 Venezuelan patrol boats leave the docks. Their engines shake the water as white smoke rises behind them. Each boat carries 8 crew members with machine guns and small rocket pods. They move north at high speed with lights off and radio silent, trusting the echo completely. Far out in the Caribbean, the crew of the USS Gerald R Ford sees something very different. Small, fast-moving returns appear on their screens. First 4, then 6. They move in a tight line across the dark water. These are not fishing boats. These are not lost ships. They are coming straight toward the strike group. Inside the Ford's Combat Information Center, the watch officer orders. Set condition 1. The room shifts fast. More sailors step in. Weapon stations come alive. Screens brighten. The tension rises, but the crew stays steady. Discipline matters most in moments like this. Electronic warfare picks up short bursts of VHF static. The signals are messy but match low-power tactical radios. The captain reacts. Launch both Romeos. 2 MH-60R Seahawks rise into the night and head toward the unknown contacts. A calm voice broadcasts from the Ford over open channel. Unidentified surface vessels. This is a United States Navy warship in international waters. Identify yourself and alter course immediately. No one answers. The 6 boats keep closing the distance. At 12 miles out, the Seahawk crew spots them. 6 wakes cutting across the dark, holding a fixed line. They report back at once. Now the CIC knows these are armed military craft moving straight toward the biggest naval asset the US can send. Inside the fort, the pressure builds as every console begins feeding live tracking data. Cameras lock in. Sensors follow every move. One wrong action here could turn a tense night into something far worse. And with each mile gone, the margin for error disappears. If you're watching this, tell me what you think. Press 1 if the Ford reacted the only way it could, or press 9 if Venezuela believed they had to push forward. Your view helps us measure how people read these first critical seconds. The 6 Venezuelan boats keep closing in. 20 miles drop to 15, then to 10. Their wakes glow faint in the dark water as they push north without slowing. Inside the USS Gerald R. Ford, the room grows tighter. Operators lean forward. Voices stay low. No one wants to blink at the wrong second. At 2:21, a sudden shift hits the screens. One Venezuelan boat switches on its fire control radar. A sharp spike hits the Ford's electronic warfare board. The system flags it at once. Short-range X-band. High pulse rate. A direct lock on the destroyer USS Thomas Hudner. The EW officer speaks calmly. "Sick? We're being painted." The words are simple, but every sailor understands. A fire control lock is not a test. It is the last step before someone pulls the trigger. Automatic defenses react fast. CRAM turns toward the threat. CIWS rotates, barrels following the boat. Infrared cameras zoom in on the small hull moving closer. No alarm sound, but the silence is heavier than noise. Everyone knows they are entering the most dangerous part of the night. Out on the water, the boat stopped 8,000 yards from the Ford's bow. Engines idle, weapons uncovered. No one fires, no one speaks. The ocean feels like it is holding still, waiting for one side to break. Then, one boat moves. Its engines flare. It surges forward at 40 to 45 knots. It is heading straight for the Hudner. No turn, no signal, just a hard charge. Inside the destroyer, the officer of the deck watches the range drop 3 miles, 2 miles, 1.5. He fires green flares into the sky, the international signal to turn away. The flares burn bright, but the charging boat does not react. On the Ford, weapons lock even tighter. CIWS follows the small hull with smooth precision. Every sailor knows they are seconds away from the point where hesitation becomes danger. One wrong move, and the ocean will explode with gunfire. At 1,000 yards, the boat still does not slow. A voice in the CIC calls out the distance. The numbers fall fast, each one heavier than the last. This is the closest the two sides have come all night, and no one knows what will happen next. If you were on that bridge, what would you think? Press 1 if the charge was a real threat, or press 9 if it was a desperate signal. Your view helps us understand this critical moment when tensions peak. The Venezuelan commander sees the dark shape ahead and finally realizes something is wrong. The destroyer he expected looks far larger than anything his radar showed earlier. The returns on his screen are stacked and messy, distorted by reflections he cannot read. He thinks the system is failing. He does not know the truth yet. He has never been chasing Alona's destroyer. He has been charging toward the entire USS Gerald R. Ford strike group, a formation built to handle threats from air, sea, and below the surface. His small patrol boat, armed with light weapons, is only seconds away from the most protected warship the US can deploy. Inside the Ford's Combat Information Center, someone calls out the range again. 800 yards. The numbers drop fast, and the air in the room tightens even more. Every sailor knows that if the boat keeps pushing, the system will take over and fire to protect the ship. Then, without warning, the charging boat slows. The engines throttle back hard. The bow drops. The hull leans as the commander pulls the wheel to port. Water sprays across the deck as the boat turns sharply away from the Hudner. The rest of the formation falls apart behind him. One boat turns wide, another cuts too close and has to correct. Their wakes cross and scatter as they race back toward Venezuelan waters. No one fires. No one speaks. But the radar tracks show exactly how close this came to becoming something irreversible. The sailors on the ford stay quiet, not because they won, but because they understand the twist better than anyone. 1 second later, this night would have ended differently. 1 second earlier, the ocean would have been filled with smoke and fire. For a moment, the sea is calm again, but everyone watching the screens knows it is not real calm. It is the thin space after a mistake is caught just in time. By sunrise, the USS Gerald R Ford strike group is already 60 miles north of the encounter point. The ocean looks calm again, but everyone on board knows the quiet is thin. What happened hours ago still sits in the back of every mind. On the flight deck, crews move with steady focus. Jets are checked. Helicopters are fueled. It looks like a normal morning, but people speak less and watch everything a little closer. Even routine feels heavier after a night that almost turned into something larger. Inside the Combat Information Center, the team reviews the radar tracks from the night before. The charge of the Venezuelan boat, the sudden turn, the moment when the distance hit 1,000 yards, every detail is clear on the screen. One small change in timing could have pushed the situation into open conflict. While the Ford keeps its course, a different fight starts on land. In Caracas, state TV airs a shaky video from a patrol boat. It shows faint shapes on the horizon with a caption claiming, "US fleet retreats." The clip spreads fast through local news and social media. At the Pentagon, analysts gather satellite photos, AIS logs, and GPS timestamps to counter the claim. The data proves the strike group stayed far from Venezuelan waters, but public perception moves faster than proof. Behind the scenes, diplomats open quiet channels to prevent the incident from growing into something political. Aboard the Ford, sailors return to their daily work, but no one forgets how close the night came to disaster. They know the charge was not just a bold move, but a moment shaped by confusion, misread radar, and pressure on both sides. They also know the next encounter might not end the same way. Then, a new radar sweep appears. A distant Venezuelan system pings the strike group again. It is not a lock, just a reminder that the tension has not fully faded. The crew logs it calmly, yet the room feels tighter for a moment. They understand the climax was not only the chase, it was the awareness of how thin the line really is. If you were watching this morning unfold, what would you say? Press 1 if you think the Ford showed real control, or press 9 if this calm feels like only a pause before something bigger. From a distance, it looks like nothing happened. No shots were fired, no ships were damaged. The ocean looks the same as it always does. But inside the Pentagon, the entire encounter is replayed frame by frame. The data tells a different story, one that is far more serious than the public realizes. The first mistake happened long before the Venezuelan boats left their docks. Their JL-10B radar systems were never designed to read a complex sea picture at night. When the reflections from the Ford and its escorts merged into one large signal, the operators believed they were looking at a lone destroyer. They acted fast, without knowing the truth. That mistake sent 6 lightly armed patrol boats toward the strongest naval formation the US can send. Inside the USS Gerald R. Ford, the story was the opposite. Every step followed procedure. Every warning was sent clearly. The crew moved from detection to identification to restraint without a single break in discipline. Even when the fire control lock hit the destroyer, they held the line. They knew firing too early could start a conflict no one wanted. They also knew waiting too long could put lives at risk. They balanced both under pressure. By the time the sun rose, the Ford had already logged the incident as significant but contained. No retaliation, no chase. Just a reminder of how quickly confusion can push two countries to the edge. Tension on the surface faded, but deeper shifting currents remained. In Caracas, the released video shaped public opinion. In Washington, the data shaped strategy. In the Caribbean, radar screens kept scanning. knowing the space between peace and conflict is thinner than most people think. The near miss also raised a larger question. What happens next time? The same radar systems are still on the Venezuelan coast, the same political pressure remains, and the same waters will carry both navies past each other again. The next misunderstanding may not come with a moment to correct it. For the sailors on the fort, the lesson is simple. Power matters, but control matters more. Anyone can fire, not everyone can wait.